Hey, this is my project for today. Fix my Ranger. And the problem with it is the right front shock or spring tower needs replaced. This guy right here. And I bought it online from this ATS place, which is a very good customer service. They're, it's the only place I could find one. You know, I think maybe they're the only ones that make them. But yeah, it's up inside of here. So I'll just give you a brief rundown, and then I'll turn the phone off and get it jacked up in the air and the wheel off. I'm going to take the fender off because I got a little dent I got to kind of work out. I'm a body man of sorts, and eventually I want to paint the truck. It's a 1994 two-wheel drive Ranger XLT short bed with a 2.3 four-cylinder engine and a 5-speed manual transmission. And it actually runs good. But the story, I've owned this truck about 2 months now. I bought it online. I was living in the Philippines. I was there for like 2.5 years, and I decided I want to come back to the U.S. So I bought this house sight unseen, and I bought this truck sight unseen. I arranged for the guy I bought it from to leave it at the airport in Charleston in the paid parking. And he did. But he left out a lot of issues that the truck had. Like one was a broken windshield, and that cost me $450 to fix. Another thing, he put a dead battery in it, so I had to get a jump. And it turns out the battery wasn't only dead, it was no good. It would not take a charge, so he had to have known that. And he also took the windshield wipers. You know, I just had these arms, the wipers, these were gone. So I come all the way from Charleston, West Virginia to Lewisburg, over 100 miles in the rain and snow, with truck splashing my windshield and everything with no windshield wipers. Here it is, probably an hour and a half later. I got the inner fender and the outer fender, or the fender, off. The fender wasn't too bad. It had just this bolt down here. It's actually still in there. I worked it back and forth. I mean, the head rounded off, so I couldn't use the socket. So I resorted to vice grips, and I just patiently worked it back and forth till it started moving in the nut plate. And I got a few turns on it, and then the nut plate broke. So the whole mess come. I was able to work it through the hole there. But now I got to get the shock off, and the nut's gone off the shock. So I guess a pipe wrench or something. Maybe I can get that. But here's the spring support that has to come off. And where's the light? You see back here, somebody put an ugly weld on that thing, and up in there it's cracked. And so I don't know what happened to that thing. But I'm glad that ATS makes those. So I got a grinder. I'm going to have a good time grinding all that nasty weld off. There'll probably be some frame repairs because I see some up on top there too. I got my handy dandy welder. I got some tools for this. You know, I like Harbor Freight, but lately I'm finding better deals on Amazon or Walmart. But that's a Harbor Freight tool there, and that's a good one. Works good. This one, I have other Vivor, or however you pronounce it, tools. I got that one off eBay. Pretty cheap. I forget how much. I think it was less than $30. And I think I got this welder probably from, I think I got that one from Amazon, and then I had to get an angle grinder I had all that stuff in the Philippines, you know. We shipped all my tools there. And I was going to show you the case. That thing came for that cheap price. It came with, I don't know where it is now. Came with a set of impact sockets and everything. Oh, here it is. And it works great, you know, for a little bit I use it for, but you know, kind of with a lubricator and a socket and an extension. It was very reasonable priced. The spring's out. You can see what I used for a spring compressor. I only needed a little. I squeezed that and then I pried down with that bar. And I finally got it out, but that nut coming off of there, right there. That was that required a long cheater bar and a lot of grunting to get that thing off. But it's off. But now you can see, I took the air box and stuff out so I could get to the top of it. Now you can see how ugly what I've got to deal with. They welded all this, and whoever welded it, looked like a chicken crawled in there and took a crap, you know? So, and plus, behind here is, I already knew about that one. Yeah, that spring hanger is bad shape. So now there's going to be a whole lot of grinding. I say, there was no nut on the inside. I see how that shock mounts now. That's a permanent mount on the frame, and it had a little threaded piece sticking out. I guess they broke that off. So what they did was they just stuck this on there and then just puddled it up with a welder, you know. And that's how the shock was. So I put a pipe wrench on this thinking that the bolt is going to screw out, but it just twisted right off because they didn't have a whole lot of weld on it. Not sure how I'm going to fix that. And there's always a new control arm. Not too expensive, but maybe a little bit difficult to replace. But I'll look into it. Let's get into that, getting that bolt off. Whew. I don't want to even think about it. But what I could do is just grind it all smooth and try to drill me like a 5/16 or something hole down there about an inch in, and then thread it, and then put a bolt in it. Maybe that's what I'll do. I mean, it doesn't take it's not holding a lot, you know. I mean, just keep the shock from slipping off there. And I left my caliper on for now. I did try to take it off, but I got kind of frustrated because I didn't have any trouble before getting that little piece inside, but this time it was giving me a hassle, so I took, and here's something that really surprised me was this rusty old brake line. Usually that's a problem, and usually it sees to the line, so when if you're even able to break it loose from the fitting, then the whole line wants to twist. But this one broke loose okay, and it wasn't twisting the line, so that was a little give me. So now I gotta grind those rivets. There should be 5 rivets. There should be 2 on the bottom. Now I gotta patch up the frame. Not sure what metal I'd use. I was going to use try to cut up this old spring hanger and use it, but it looks like it's in too bad a shape. I have to get a little bit heavier metal. I had to scout around town here and see what I can come up with. Okay, so this will be all until I get that thing off, and then I'll get another video. I got it off, most of it. Got a mess on my hands here. Seems like the frame is good on both sides, but right here it rotted out behind that spring mount. And here it is, I got it off in pieces. I want you to see this. Like all the grinding done burn up my glove. I want you to see this this weld job they put on there. I thought I was gonna have to cut all this to get it off. Well, it wasn't even attached to the spring mount. It's just laying in there. And this piece here, look. Ever see a weld job like that? I'm gonna have to cut her here, and I'm gonna leave that rivet for the bottom's not too bad. There's 2 rivets there. I just need it for a guide to put the new one on. I have to drill a couple new holes, 2 new holes. Get that mess there off of there. Might just be able to knock it off with a hammer. The same thing up here. It looks like they probably use flux core. Yeah, see it's hollow in the end. It's flux core. No good for MIG or stick welding. Would have been a better choice. I took that plate off the top, and then the front of the frame, it dropped about 3 inches, which I expected. Got it jacked up now. I was gonna weld something across there to hold it in place while I took the last piece out, but I saw that there was about a 1/2 inch gap. You can see I got the hose here that will give me good alignment. I gotta pull the frame sideways a little bit to line it up. But you see that 1/4 inch piece I took off there? That's the weld on one end, so it was easy to get off. And that glob there had the frame a little bit, but it didn't have the plate, so I don't know what was holding it on, you know. Thing wasn't safe for the road, but yeah, I got a plan. Got good metal on the top there, so I'll line that up. Start there with my welding her back together. It was just using my ratchet strap to pull it together. Had to cut through a glob of weld down at the bottom, and there's still a little bit there. I can line that up a little better. Oh, let me get to work. Got up like 3 o'clock in the morning to start on this thing. Because it got me worried. I mean, it's my only transportation here in a remote area of West Virginia. Okay. I got her finished as much as I'm going to. Got that piece of 1/4 inch that they had kind of welded to the top there. It's right in here now. That's all I had to work with. And then down here and over here, the little pieces of the old spring tower. And it's a miracle, but these 2 holes line up now. I only have to drill 1 hole. I'm gonna be able to use 4 out of 5 of the original holes, I think. Well, got her on there. Can't say enough about that ATS spring place, because I had that bolt right there. I had to drill, because that's where that 1/4 inch plate, that hole was gone. But the other 4 holes still there, and they all lined up perfectly. She's on there. It's a grade 8 bolts, 7/16 bolts. Some people will drill them out to a 1/2 inch, but I think the 7/16 is the same size as the rivets that were on there, and that worked all right. I don't know what the torque is, but I pulled on them hard as I could with a breaker bar, and that's the German Gudentite torque. So, and then I took where is it? This guy here and the drill and went over the frame everywhere and got the scale off, and then I hit it with where is it? This Rust-Oleum. I used a whole can of this. Converts rust to protection. It's pretty good on this side now, you know. The back is good and solid and everything, but you know it needs wire brushed and coated. I might take the bed off to do that. I don't know. It doesn't look like it'd be that hard. But I gotta wrestle with that spring and put it in there. I ordered this thing. Is supposed to be for the spring. I don't know if the spring's actually going to sit on that or not. If it doesn't, I actually took the opportunity to. My exhaust manifold, that top bolt was loose, so that pipe rattled a little bit. So I worked it back and forth. I got it moving, worked it back and forth until I got enough turn on. Now she's good and tight. So I'm not going to deal with the motor mount this trip because this one's okay. It's the one on the other side that's broke. So it looked like it'd be a heck of a job. Plus I got to use the truck later today. So I didn't think it would take 3 days, but you never know. I'm going to work this here dent out a little bit before I put the fender back on. But now I got to wrestle that spring in there, and that ought to be fun. Okay. She's all back together in all of her gleaming glory. I got this dent. This little bit of filler needed now, not like before, so that's good. And let's see if I can find my light and you can see. I don't know if I can get in there or not. Yeah, there's the spring and everything back in place. Like it never happened, you know. The ride's good. You know, I've been taking her for some test rides and actually needs new springs because those are a little tired. But, I had to back her out and use my pressure washer. This guy I got on Marketplace for $70. It's a Simpson 3000 PSI. Motor runs great, but the pump had a crack in it. So I just bought a new pump for $60 and got a nice pressure washer. Works great. But yeah, I hosed her down. Got her looking a little more presentable. Now, I think I'm done working on my truck for a while. Not sure what else I need to do to it. But I guess my next project is my rototiller. This is Montgomery Ward's. So that tells you something. The date code on the engine is 1975. So I bought new wheels for it. It only had one wheel on it. And the motor was seized up, but I took the head off. It wasn't the piston that was seized up, it was the valves were stuck. And it wasn't really seized up, it was just hard to turn over the first time. I just put a crescent wrench on it and it, you know, the camshaft had a little problem shoving those valves up, but I had to tap the valves back down with a hammer and then turn it over and do like that about 100 times. And finally the valves freed up. Now it spins over. I had to get follow the points to get the spark plug a sparking. But it came without a carburetor. So I ordered one from eBay, and the carburetor came. It's all broken, parts missing. So the guy was nice enough to refund my money. Didn't even want me to return it. And so here's a, it needed a rope for the recoil, wherever that is. I don't know where did I put it. Oh, right here. Here's all the screws and stuff. So I put a new rope in that, got that working. I'm just waiting on the carburetor now. And it'll tell me up a garden patch with her. But I'm also going to use it to help excavate around the walls of my garage out there, because the cinder block walls are pushed in and need some repair. So paid $15 for the rototiller. So, and the marketplace is a wonderful thing. This one actually has reverse, but the reverse belt is missing. So I have to try to source a belt. I don't know if you need reverse on a front tying tiller, but might be nice to have. So that's a 25. Next year she'll be 50. A 49-year-old tiller. Yeah, it's pretty good shape, but just needed a little couple little things. So. Yeah, the projects are coming. Okay, thank you.